Welcome to the Grimdark Chronicles. Something of mystery, an information repository, and a place of history and bygone times. With the archival world of Calliope lost to heretical treachery, now only a few data repositories remain. Origins and first founding. The Adeptus Custodes were created directly by the Emperor during the Unification Wars as his elite protectors, making them the first genetically engineered warriors predating even the Space Marine legions. Unlike the mass-produced Astartes, each custodian is individually crafted through a unique and complex alchemical process taking years to complete. They are the Emperor's personal guardians, genetically perfect and physically superior, with each warrior embodying his ideals of human perfection. Their primary role was, and remains, the defense of the Emperor and Terra, distinguishing them as both bodyguards and a symbol of his will. The Primarch, the Custodes, do not have a Primarch. Instead, they see the Emperor himself as their progenitor and guide. This direct link influences their culture and their absolute loyalty. Unlike the Space Marines, who honor their Primarchs, the Custodes revere the Emperor alone, viewing him not as a god but as the pinnacle of human potential. His ideals shape their purpose, fostering an intense sense of personal duty that prioritizes his safety and vision for the Imperium over all else. The Great Crusade. During the Great Crusade, the Custodes served not as front-line soldiers, but as the Emperor's elite protectors, ensuring his safety on diplomatic missions and during critical battles. Their role extended beyond combat. They acted as enforcers of the Emperor's will, dealing with opposition swiftly and maintaining order wherever the Emperor traveled. Their presence instilled fear and respect among newly compliant worlds, reinforcing the Emperor's influence and showcasing their unique status as his most trusted and powerful warriors. The Horus Heresy. In the Horus Heresy, the Custodes were tasked with defending the Imperial Palace during the Siege of Terra. Standing alongside other loyalist forces, they faced the traitor legions in a battle that would define the Custodes' legacy. The Emperor's mortal wounding during the battle marked a turning point for them. They saw it as a personal failure. As a result, they became more isolated and focused exclusively on protecting Terra and the Emperor's golden throne, vowing never to allow such a threat to come so close again. Rebuilding after the heresy. After the heresy, the Custodes withdrew from external affairs to focus solely on the defense of Terra. They reorganized into specialized units called shield hosts and shield companies, each tasked with a specific role in Imperial defense. Recruitment became even more selective, with each candidate undergoing extensive genetic screening and enhancement to maintain the Custodes' purity and combat superiority. This shift marked a more introspective period for the Custodes, as they prioritized the Emperor's protection above all else. Notable early battles. The Custodes were instrumental during the Siege of Terra, fighting to protect the Emperor alongside legions like the Imperial Fists, White Scars, and Blood Angels. Their involvement in the Unification Wars also solidified their reputation as elite warriors. In these battles, they demonstrated unmatched skill and unbreakable resolve, establishing themselves as the Emperor's chosen protectors and setting a standard for loyalty and martial prowess within the Imperium. Gene seed strengths and flaws. The Custodes do not use a traditional gene seed but are instead created through a secretive genetic process using the Emperor's own genetic material. This gives them heightened physical capabilities, intelligence, and resilience, surpassing even the Astartes in many respects. Their creation process is complex and slow, limiting their numbers, but it ensures that each custodian is free from the genetic mutations and flaws that affect other Astartes chapters. Successor chapters. The Custodes do not have successor chapters like the Space Marines. Their unique role, coupled with their close connection to the Emperor, keeps them a singular, undivided force. However, they work closely with the Sisters of Silence, an order of anti-Psyker warriors who often accompany the Custodes on missions to counter Psyker threats, forming a powerful partnership known as the Talons of the Emperor. Ancient allies and enemies, the Custodes have a long-standing alliance with the Sisters of Silence, whose null abilities counteract psychic powers, complementing the Custodes' martial strength. Their enemies are typically forces that directly threaten Terra and the Emperor, including traitor legions like the Word-Bearers during the Heresy and various Chaos forces since. In modern times, they continue to oppose Chaos and Xenos threats, but their focus remains on those that could jeopardize Terra's security. Significant role in Imperial conflicts, the Custodes have played a decisive role in several key conflicts, most notably the Siege of Terra, where they were instrumental in holding back Horus forces. Over the millennia, they have continued to defend Terra, including against Chaos incursions during the Black Crusades. Their ongoing presence on Terra has reinforced their image as the Imperium's last line of defense, with each custodian serving as a bulwark against existential threats to the Emperor's realm. Chapter Mythology and the Emperor. The Custodes' view of the Emperor is distinct. Unlike many in the Imperium, they do not see him as a god. They consider him the pinnacle of humanity and their ultimate creator, instilling in them a secular reverence. This perspective influences their internal culture, focused on perfection, duty, and honor rather than religious dogma. Their devotion centers around protecting his vision, embodying his ideals, and ensuring his safety, making them unique among Imperial forces. Relics and artifacts. Custodes possess revered relics, such as the Guardian Spear and Castellan Axe, crafted from rare materials like auramite. Each weapon and armor piece is custom-made and personalized, adorned with inscriptions and symbols representing the custodian's role. These relics serve as both symbols of honor and deadly tools, their craftsmanship reflecting the Custodes' blend of tradition and function. Chapter Reforms and Traditions. Post-Heresy, the Custodes became more reclusive, focusing entirely on Terra's defense. They adopted a structured organization of shield hosts, each with a specific purpose, and rigorous daily routines to maintain their peak performance. These traditions, preserved over thousands of years, emphasize the same loyalty, discipline, and excellence that have defined the Custodes since their creation. Relics and artifacts. Custodes possess revered relics such as the Guardian Spear and Castellan Axe, crafted from rare materials like auramite. Each weapon and armor piece is custom-made and personalized, adorned with inscriptions and symbols representing the custodian's role. These relics serve as both symbols of honor and deadly tools, their craftsmanship reflecting the Custodes' blend of tradition and function. Role in Terra's defense, or the Imperium. The Custodes' primary mission has always been Terra's defense, specifically the protection of the Emperor's palace and Golden Throne. Rarely deployed off-world, they only undertake missions deemed critical to the Emperor's safety. This dedication ensures Terra remains the Imperium's unassailable heart, with the Custodes as its ultimate protectors. The Apothecarian and Gene secrets. The Custodes do not have an Apothecarian as the Space Marines do. Instead, they rely on a secretive genetic process pioneered by the Emperor. This intricate and lengthy process ensures each custodian is free from flaws, maintaining their unparalleled physical and mental stability, even across millennia of service. Combat Doctrine. Custodian combat doctrine emphasizes flexibility, mastery of all combat forms, and precise, coordinated strikes. They employ martial kata, advanced fighting stances, and techniques that enhance their effectiveness in different combat scenarios, allowing them to engage in both ranged and melee combat with unrivaled skill. Elite units and dreadnoughts. The Custodes' elite include the Alarus Terminators, heavily armored and equipped for the most dangerous missions. Their dreadnoughts, though rare, house custodians whose bodies are beyond recovery. These dreadnoughts carry the wisdom and experience of centuries into battle, making them formidable on the field and treasured within Custodes' lore. Fleet and space combat. The Custodes maintain a small but advanced fleet, including fast battle barges and strike cruisers designed for precision deployment. Their fleet operates independently of the Imperial Navy, allowing the Custodes to respond rapidly to threats with precision and overwhelming force, embodying their ground doctrine of elite, targeted strikes in space.